What's cracking YouTube? Neck Punch here. So about 4 years ago, was it really 4 years ago? Damn. Okay, so 4 years ago, I shared with you a bunch of the sprites that I'd drawn for Pokemon Amber, and the process brought up a few Fakemon that I decided needed redesigning. I posted a poll in the community tab, and you guys voted to see Plackey and Screechann redesigned first. It's taken me a while to get them right, but it's finally time. So what was wrong with them in the first place? Plackey and Screechann are great examples of what you get when you start drawing without having given much thought to your concept or plan. My original idea was to design the kind of bird Pokemon that a pirate might have on their shoulder. Plackey was going to be a dark flying parrot, and Screechann was going to just be bigger with some toucan elements thrown in. Then I was doodling and I drew this, and I figured, oh, this looks possible. This can just be Plackey. Never mind that the toucan elements were only going to come into the evolution. Pokemon names aren't always accurate, so it's fine. By the time I came to design Screechann, I decided they'd be blood flying so as to not just be another Honchkrow Mandibuzz, and there'd be some pterosaur thrown in also because I wanted a new ancient power evolution. So the crest and teeth got slapped in there too. And you're probably starting to understand why this mon is such a mess. Do better. Instead of trying to fix these mons, I started again from scratch. What I knew I wanted to keep was the typing, because it was my only blood flying type. I built the rest from there. Having given more thought to what the blood type actually is, you can check out that video if you're interested, I figured parrot wasn't really the right bird for this idea. I still wanted a bird, but it needed to be a carnivore, and ideally a bird known for its viciousness or at least some kind of brutal behavior. I already have a plan for a blood type black swan, so we gotta go in a different direction. This line of thinking brought to the surface a repressed trauma in the form of a little TV show called The Animals of Farthing Wood. This was a cartoon that many of us 90s kids watched about woodland creatures on a journey to a nature preserve that was not afraid to get super real with its audience about the chances these animals actually had of surviving. The hedgehog scene alone was enough to scar a generation. If you know, you know. But I was thinking of a different moment. Allow me to give a quick recap. So we've got these animals on a journey. The newts give up on the journey and they make a new home in some wetlands that the group crossed, but then a fire most likely kills them. In the next 2 episodes, the animals stay on a farm where both the pheasants get shot. The animals get separated from their leader and the animal guiding them gets lost because his homing instinct is playing up. But in the midst of this, there's a little note of hope. The field mice have babies. And in the very next episode, this happens.
Butcher bird. Yeah, that's what they call me.
Yeah, if there's a better candidate for a blood flying type, I don't want to know what it is. Butcher bird already sounds like a Pokemon, right? So I went with the obvious from there. A little butcher bird with a feather pattern resembling a blood-spattered butcher's apron, exaggerated the hook on the beak that butcher birds actually have to resemble a meat hook, and gave it knife-shaped feathers for cutting. Here is Shriever, from Shrike, another term for butcher bird, Shriek, which is a little ironic because butcherbirds are songbirds that actually have a pretty beautiful call, but I guess a person might shriek when seeing their handiwork. Cleaver, classic butcher's tool, and Reaver. Now, I did wonder if Screechann was maybe beyond saving, and Shriever should just be a single stage, but I discovered something else, which gave me a pretty good idea for an evolution. I was listening to Alpenglow by Nightwish, which mentioned something called a Jub-Jub bird. When I googled what that was, I found out that it was a fictional, dangerous bird creature from a couple of Lewis Carroll's poems. Its voice when heard is described as a scream shrill and high. A big monstrous bird with a shrill scream. It was included in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, looking like this. Really started to feel like a very natural evolution to a butcher bird. But how to tie it in with the literal butcher aesthetic that I'd already woven into Shriever's design? That's when I thought of another creature that is also known for hanging up its prey in trees, but for a little evolution of concept, not for food storage, but as a means of displaying trophies. I am, of course, talking about Predator. From there, it all came together. A big, monstrous Jub-Jub bird Pokemon with those long tail feathers that it can use to skewer prey and then detach and leave them hanging in trees. It was a bit tricky to give it Predator's mouth while still looking like a bird, so the mouth became the Pokemon's feet. The beak instead is shaped like Predator's blade, and the feathers are patterned like Predator's armor instead of a butcher's apron. Here is Shredditor. The Jub-Jub bird's crest even merged perfectly with Predator's dreads. So what do you think? Are they an improvement, or do you prefer the old designs? Next up, I'm going to redesign the electric ballerinas, and I think I have a pretty decent idea for them, so stick around, hit the buttons. I'll see you soon. Until next time, my name is Neck Punch. Have a good one.